Appearances from council, please.
Nick Hearns on behalf of the people.
Robert Hartzell and Mr. Welch, who joins me at the table.
Thank you. You may be seated, sir. Also here before the court is Mr. Stephen Saladay. He is an agent from the Michigan Department of Corrections who prepared today's pre-sentence investigation report. I'm going to take a quick review here of the PSI. 1 second. All right, I don't think I have any. Mr. Carnes, how about you? Any amendments, corrections, or objections to make to the contents of the PSI?
No, Your Honor.
And how about you, Mr.?
Only two relatively small corrections to request, Your Honor.
Okay.
The first one on CFJ 145, page 1, under personal history, where it mentions THC and how long. My client has mentioned to me that he does have a medical marijuana card, that period's been while using the card, and that is reflected later in the report, so I'd ask that to be removed.
We'll leave it on there, but if it references the card in there, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right. Again, the way that statute or the way the law changed it, it actually doesn't make it illegal. It actually just presents the prosecution from it. It's interesting how it's worded, but yeah, I got it. Again, it's one of those things. Oh, but actually with the medical marijuana card, it's also you don't possess it. But as long as it references it later on, I can tell you I made no note about it there. So, and then I see that I circled it on CFJ 284, page 8, that it's listed for anxiety.
Yes, Your Honor.
I appreciate that. I'm not going to give that any credit.
Okay. The only other correction I would have mentioned, since I did mention that there was two of them, would have been higher up where it does mention under substance use. I believe you already allocated why.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
I got it. No, and I appreciate that. And again, that's fair to raise. All right, allocution, then Mr. Hartel, go for it.
Yes, Your Honor. I do realize that the guidelines appear to be scored accurately with a 12 to 20 on the guideline minimums. The court did adopt the guidelines. I would ask the court to go on the lower end of that and allow him the opportunity. I believe this is his first felony, if I recall correctly. And so similar to somebody that we saw earlier, I'd ask the court to only do it for, in reality, a county year. And that way he doesn't have to go to prison if the range was higher. I know the agents, and we thank him for it, who authored this, who is sitting obviously right over there as I'm talking about, did recommend 10 months. And I do believe it's appropriate for the court to at least consider going below the guidelines. I do realize they're discretionary. As the court has noted, and I've discussed with my client and his family, there has to be reasons for those articulations. But I do believe there are good reasons here. I'd even ask the court to consider maybe even going lower than the recommendation of his agents. He does, and these are just small things, piece by piece, but they do add up to a large total. He has been doing good on bond. I know the people did stipulate to allow him to do a little bit of a Thanksgiving excursion, not super far, but a lot of people, you give them an inch, they take a mile, they lose everything. But he did well on that. He had a lot of his family here, perhaps not all of his family, but a lot of his family here for support, including his mother, who came all the way from Texas just to be here for support. His father, who continues to be supportive. I believe his father recently had a stroke. He's told me he's okay with me mentioning this, otherwise I wouldn't mention it on the live stream. But my client's been helping take care of him, his young child who's been here with us. He does have, I believe, all 4 children at home with him that he's been helping take care of them. There's been some respiratory issues going on, something of that nature. So he hasn't been able to work as much as he normally would, but he has been doing as much as he can. It's a bit tricky with the GPS house arrest because he's an independent contractor, but on probation, the rules would be a little bit looser, if I understand most of the way that works. He's never had 7411, and I know that doesn't necessarily qualify for this offense, but I'd ask the court to factor that in for reasonableness of perhaps almost treating it as something in between 7411 and the guidelines, where we give him a little bit less time, more focus on the probation. He's going to have this adult conviction on his record. It's going to haunt him. It's going to limit his prospects. And that's unfortunate because at one point he was even looking at the military. I don't believe they give these kind of waivers anymore. Maybe back in Vietnam or something, but
They don't.
yeah. So unfortunately, that's off the table, as is a lot of other career prospects. Maybe someday he'll be able to expunge it, but most government jobs still see that even, and that's just a reality. Plus, at that point, he'd probably be too old anyways, if I understand all of that. I really ask the court to really consider going even below these guidelines, or at an absolute max that county year. And I'm sure I'm leaving out a lot of stuff that as soon as I get out of here, I'll think, wow, I really want to say extra nice things about this young man and his family, because not all my clients I would say this for. Some of my clients, as soon as the case is done, I'm like, thank God. But with this particular client and his family, I've gotten along with them really well. I really have had nothing but positive energy come from them. And I do believe he articulated it well. Sometimes less is more. The way he wrote in here, that he knows what he did was the selling of the drugs. And why did you do it? Young and making the wrong choices, and biggest mistake in my life. Maybe not Shakespeare, but definitely to the point. He knows it was the biggest mistake of his life. He knows he's gonna be haunted by this for the rest of his life. Not that he needs the stick as well, but he knows, because I've made sure to stress it to him, and I know his family's repeated some of this to him as well, because it is the truth that if he ever did mess up again, second or subsequent would hit him extra hard. Habitual offender would hit him extra hard. He's not going to mess up again. I have full faith he won't mess up again, but that will also be hovering over his head as well. I do believe he wants to make some statements here in a minute, but the only other thing that I can think of, even though I guarantee I'm forgetting something, I'll be kicking myself later, I guarantee it. But I asked the court to factor in also what the court itself said when we tried to modify his bond. The people downstate sometimes, or anywhere really, sometimes take advantage of younger, more naive people. And I was hesitant to even maybe first bring that up because I don't want the court thinking that we're trying to take away from the defense. He knows that. He doesn't want the court to think we're trying to take away from it at all. But as a defense attorney, I'm just asking the court to factor this in. To some degree, he is a victim of this as well. I don't want to lean too hard on that for obvious reasons. I just asked the court to factor that into, and whatever he wishes to say. He did mention he wanted to make a statement after the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I noted right away that the only substance in Mr. Welch's use history was marijuana. And now we're told that's a medication only, so he doesn't even use drugs, but he's selling them. That I kind of consider to be an aggravating factor, not really, I guess it cuts both ways. This is a difficult case for me because he is young, he's a father of 4, he's a high school grad, he's employed, and he's selling ounces of methamphetamine to CIs and undercover officers here. And methamphetamine is a huge problem for many people, and it destroys lives. So this is a serious case, and despite everything the defendant has going for him, he's choosing to do this. I asked the court to sentence right in the middle of the guidelines. I think 16 months takes into account the positives and negatives here. I would say he might be a good candidate for boot camp too. However, I think this absolutely deserves a prison sentence. The guidelines are very low because he has very little criminal history. And I hope he does learn his lesson. I hope this is the worst decision he's made in his life. I hope it's all up from here, but I do think a 16-month prison sentence is appropriate. I asked the court to impose that. Oh, and Your Honor, there's I think restitution is agreed to.
$1,750.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, Mr. Welch, it's your turn to speak if you choose to do so. You may, whatever makes you comfortable. I don't care. I don't take any offense.
Yes, I don't go against anything he said, but like I said on the paper, it was the worst decision in my life. I didn't know what I was really dealing with. Like I said, I'm young. I learned my lesson. I just want to be a great father to my kids. Going through some things right now between me and their mother, so I've been having them in my custody a lot more. And I'm just scared. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you have kids, and I just don't like to think about me not being able to be there for my little boys, or not even to just let down my kids, but to let down my parents. You know, I'll be able to walk out of here and be a whole different man. From our last court date, I memorized everything you said. Everybody makes a mistake, but that don't determine your life. So hopefully after today, it'd be way better, Your Honor, but thank you.
Thank you, sir. I do have a question, Mr. Welch, and a couple, one, there might be a couple for you. I see that you have or had two brothers, and each of them have passed away. Is that right?
Sure.
And how was it they passed away?
Oldest brother, which is Stacy,
Mhm.
he was living in Indiana, Gary, Indiana, I believe so, and I think it was an altercation between his wife and another lady.
Okay.
And it led to him trying to break it up, and the lady's boyfriend.
Were either Stacy and is it Javon? Were either one of them convicted for drug-related offenses? No, all right. Because occasionally, people don't always know it. I do read through these things and I look up, and there were a couple young men with these names that had issues, and I would have been concerned had you followed in their footsteps, so to speak. Okay, so I don't want to go any further. I don't want to be insensitive. Every loss of life in this world is unfortunate and sad, so I don't need to go in there. So thank you. I apologize for anybody who I may relive it. I wanted to know what he had experiences on and what he could have learned from them, because learning from every experience is what the best we can do. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about here is, and if the parents don't know and the family, the background, I may have talked about it in the past. You know the names of the individuals who should be in that seat. We know up here in Wexford County very well that there are drug dealing gangs in Muskegon, and they love to send young people like you up here. They've been doing it now for about 5 years. We know. And those people out there that Stacy here has been hanging out with, what they do is they talk young black men into coming up to the northern counties. And they do it in part because of the way the law works. The law says that generally young people should get 7411 or Homeless Youthful Training Act status. And so they tell the young men that they're not going to get into trouble. And if they do, they'll probably just get probation for a period of time. Well, there are some young men or some men older than him that are telling him to do this. We never, ever get young men from Muskegon who are over the age of 22, 23. There is a pool of self-centered, evil people that are sucking in young men like Stacy. Stacy, you were probably the 10th black young man to come up from Muskegon, who by all accounts has no priors, has got good support. It's not the first time I've had family in the background. I'm so sorry for it. You guys are being duped. I know I'm not going to. If I asked you now or asked you in private, what are the names of these people? You would not give them to me. Because you know how dangerous they are. They could not care one bit for you or your family or your children or any of your friends. They do not care. They are manipulating you for their benefit. That's really unfortunate. I've told young men in your position that when they go to the jail, if they're back in the jail, first thing you should do is make a phone call to your friend and tell them, don't listen to these idiots who told me to do it. Because I guarantee you know probably 5 young men that are friends of yours who are doing the same thing. You're not the only one. You're just the next one. And that makes me feel horrible inside. Because I look at you, and you look like a nice young man. You don't really have any criminal history here. So you jump from nothing to a 20-year offense. Now, before I took the bench, I was a prosecutor. But before that, most of my career has been in that seat. I can tell you until about 4 years ago, we never had anything more than an ounce. Maybe, well, I think one time I had an ounce and a half, like 37 grams. Or 37 grams. You brought up enough for nearly 1,000 hits. 1,000 hits of methamphetamine. 270 ounce or grams. Each gram generally provides, on average, depends who the user is, about 4 hits. And here's what's even worse. Because I don't know if mom and dad read police reports. When I was a defense attorney, I always sent them to them. The confidential informant, and I don't know if you all know what his nickname is. You know what his nickname is in the drug world? That's Scar. It wasn't his first time coming up here to Wexford County. That's not Stacy. That's Scar. So, I don't know what you think. You're going to go to prison today. You're going to be able to get out. You're going to be able to set an example for your children. Don't do this. And I want you to go back when you go to the jail today. I want you to get on the phone and call one of your friends and say, don't do this. If you think you're not going to get jailed for being a drug dealer, because here you are, and by the way, Mr. Carnes, I already caught it and noted it. You have marijuana for your anxiety. You're not using the drug that you're a peddler of. You don't care by bringing it up here. You don't care when somebody else uses meth up here, and it impacts their children. It impacts their home. It impacts their community. It impacts their ability to do their job. You don't care as long as you're making a little extra green on the side. Well, I care. Because Scar, your drug dealing days in Wexford County are done. And I'm very sorry you made these choices because you didn't make it once. You made it enough that when this informant got caught, he went straight to you. So, I'm really sorry. I'm going to tell you there's something else I see that not everybody recognizes when they listen to what I'm saying. First of all, the only people you need to apologize to are the people in the back. I've seen them here before, and they're always very nice, very respectful people. Nope, we're done. So this is what I'm going to tell you. The apologies go to them. You know, also, the boot camp eligible? Bingo. Well, I know in my sentence, if you go to the jail or prison, because that's what you're going to get, and you apply to boot camp, he can actually be out earlier than if I put him in jail for a year. Okay? what I'm doing is I want to put him into a place where he changes his outlook. I want him not to sit here and tug on the heartstrings because he's got children, because he can get out and the kids are still going to be young. I mean, we're talking, he could be out in less than a year. He's got good people who care about him and love him, and thank God that he does. And you're gonna help take care of those kids. And then you're gonna help young Scar here, Stacy, put that nickname away. And then help him demonstrate to his friends and his children and his, hey, don't make my bad choice, right? As parents, all we can hope to do is hope that our children learn from their mistakes and that they can learn from our own choices, right? We've all made them. We've all made bad ones. So you go there, you apply to boot camp. I will arrange it, and I will approve it. And it'll probably get you out of there faster than if I put you in jail for a year. And the point is I want to change your outlook. I want you to see when you wake up every morning, you swing your feet over to that floor, you think, man, I never should have listened to those idiots, and you'll run their names through your head. They probably got pretty cool nicknames. And you'll think, I don't want to do this. And I'm going to tell my friends, don't do that. Casey, so I really hope that maybe it's not going to hit you today. I don't expect it to. But yes, you're right. I've got 3 children. Mine are all grown up and out of the house. Like, here for them every day, all day long, hoping they make good choices. We all do. Usually cry about this because I don't want to see a young man. I'm tired of seeing young men like you come up from Mesquite. Sentence of the court is as follows. The court sentences the defendant to a $68 state minimum fee, $130 crime victims' right fund fee. There should have been a $60 DNA fee payable to whom?
I have no DNA fee.
No, I see that he had a juvenile. He had some prior, but they were all dismissed. All right, well, there should have been a DNA fee payable to the, we'll say payable to Washington County Sheriff, and I'll sign a DNA fee or DNA order form. That's just a simple swab in the cheek. A $1,750 restitution payable. Is that to the Traverse Narcotics team?
Yes, Your Honor.
Traverse Narcotics team. Court sentences the defendant. Number's going to sound high. Remember, I'll explain how I do it. The sentence here of the court is a minimum prison term of 20 months with a maximum of 240 months. So what I do is when he applies, if he does, and I'm telling you, he should qualify. I will automatically take, as you get the program's 90 days, and then I do it in a way so they get rewarded. So even though it's 20 months is on the minimum, if he does the boot camp program, it won't be 20 months. Okay, it should be about half of that. If not, yeah, about half of it. That's what I do. All right. And my idea here is to realize he got sucked into a world that he never wants to go to again. And I really, really hope he talks to his friends that he knows are doing the same thing. I trust with good family, he's going to learn from this. Yeah, Dan. Hold on, and that's Dad. That's all right. Hold on. I got it. This is Stacy Edward Welch Sr. The answer is when you get there, you apply to the boot camp program. They will send me a piece of paper asking me to sign it, saying I don't object. I will say I don't object. Then on that line, it also says I give a date in which it begins. So then in my head, I know that the program is 90 days. So I will add to it another number, which will generally get you about of 10 months to a year, right? So I will approve it. And I will set a start date. And because he doesn't have any real pretrial credit here, I'll put it out probably like 6 months or so. And then if he's done, does it well, he should be out after 10 months on average, right? It depends. Now that I can't control, most people don't get in too much trouble there. But if he does, that part's on him, which I don't think he's going to do it. All right, thank you very much. Mr. Hartel is going to bring out to you, sir, 2 copies of one document. You're going to place your initials on one copy. Doing so does not elect or waive any rights. It merely acknowledges your receipt of that document. This document tells you that you have the right to appeal the conviction and sentence in your case. That is typically done by filing a claim of right to appeal. However, based upon the plea in this case, any appeal must be done by filing an application for leave to appeal. If you choose to file an application for leave to appeal, and you want the court to, appoint an attorney to assist you, you may complete the bottom half of the copy of the document and return to the court within 42 days. I do not ever dissuade anybody from filing an appeal. If you have any questions about how long it takes, you can ask your counsel. But it generally takes about a year and a half. So, but that's all up to you. Okay. I also forgot to acknowledge the 6 days of credit, which the court issues as credit. Have I missed anything else, Mr. Saladay, Mr. Karn,
No, yeah.
and Mr. Hartel?
No, thank you.
All right, Mr. Hartel will retrieve that back to me. Stacy, I really, really, really sincerely mean this. I hope you learn from this. I hope you stop your friends from doing the same thing. You know they're coming. You stop. Thank you. Good luck to you. Virgil. All right. Our next case this morning is People of the State of Michigan versus William Manicky.